Okay, y'all caught me. I was trying to hurry put my hat on before. Oh, it's all tangled. Oh, goodness. What a week. Okay. All right. Are we ready to go? Are we good? Let's- Oh, what is up, everyone? Yeah. It has been a week. A sad week. Um, it's just let's get this on here. Anyway, it's been a week. All right. And it's been like the slowest, fastest week probably ever. Um, and I'm going to start off by saying that, of course, it's almost on par for me to say, especially considering the stereotype. Death comes for us all. When it does, we could either be expecting it or not expecting it. Now, this week we lost quite a handful of celebrities. Usually they come in threes. Usually, we've lost maybe I can name four, five maybe. Some were little minor celebrities, some were bigger, and there's two that stand out. And I say that because I'm a millennial. Okay, I'm a '90s kid, and these are icons that really affect not just the '90s kids, but the '80s kids as well, and music lovers. Uh, and obviously, I'm talking about the deaths of Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan. And I'm going to mention the other ones as well, but these are the two biggest uh, celebrities that have been lost, the two biggest icons. Now, Ozzy, I believe he was in I want to say stage 5 Parkinson's. I don't know how many stages there are, but I know it's in very late stage Parkinson's. And he had his last show, and the last show, um, it was kind of solemn. It was kind of more of a celebration in a way of what he has done in his life. He donated all the money from the concert to charity, which is shows how much of a big heart Ozzy really had. Ozzy's was known to have like some of the biggest, most wild antics of basically um, any rock star. There was a movie made about Motley Crue, and they had somebody playing Ozzy, and he was doing like the grossest thing. I remember that scene. I don't want to discuss it right now, but Ozzy was known for doing the wildest things. And he's also known for those wild things impacting his health after the fact. But he also had an amazing wife and a very loving, supportive family. And I really feel like that is why he lived to live as long as he did. The man did lots of drugs, drank lots of alcohol, did some legit wild things. Biting the head off a bat is probably like the biggest one that people think of. Um, so he was in late stage Parkinson's. Everyone was kind of expecting it. Some people said that, I believe it was Kelly Osbourne. I'm not sure if it was real, if it was AI, but that performance was like his funeral, was his send off to the world. Like he knew he was not long for this world when he had that concert. And I think all of us knew. I think there was a part of us all that knew Ozzy wasn't going to be around much longer after that. Um, but yeah, so he he's no longer with us. Um, and I say us as in like the world, of course. And he, I heard that he was surrounded by his family when he went, and that's like the best way to go. So I love that for him. I really do. Um, so with Ozzy, we were kind of expecting it. We knew he was sick. Now, another punch to the gut on icons that we lost is Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan, of course, everybody knows who he is. He's probably like the biggest wrestler like of pro wrestling, or the more the entertainment wrestling, not as in like the Olympics wrestling. The biggest wrestler of all time, I would say. I don't think I would put anybody above his star status. He was the wrestler, and his death was quite shocking. He, as a wrestler, he was in shape. He seemed like he was in good shape. He didn't seem to have anything, I guess, quote unquote, wrong with him. Diseases that at least we know of that he was going through. So Hulk Hogan's death, it was cardiac arrest, I believe. And they were called to his house, and uh, yeah, and the rest is history. I know that there's a lot of people who are extremely uh, it, like just lost over it. I saw the most touching interview of TMZ with Ric Flair, and it was hard to not get choked up. It really was. He and Hulk Hogan were quite close. They wrestled together for so many years, and he was crying in the interview, and sobbing, and it was extremely touching, and it goes to show the impact that Hulk Hogan had. I'm not sure if you've ever seen the video, the viral video. It was the last few years, I believe. There was a little boy, and it's so cute. And I should pull it up actually. The little boy who dressed up as Hulk Hogan, and he had the belt, and he had like everything. And he went to Hogan's shop whenever he was doing some signing, I guess. And he walks in, and Hulk Hogan is just like, "Let me tell you something, brother." And then the kid just goes and like amazing impersonation. It was the cutest thing. He just basically reenacted Hulk Hogan in front of Hulk Hogan, including the shirt rip. It was iconic, and you could tell Hulk Hogan just absolutely loved what this kid was doing. That it was just amazing. It was so touching. It was the most adorable thing, and he seemed like he was just a legit good guy. Of course, I've never met him. He could just be have been an a-hole, but he's, from all the testimony of everyone that has known him, he seemed like he was just a really good dude, and he meant a lot to a lot of people's childhoods. I remember as a child myself, I actually did watch wrestling growing up. I remember watching Hulk Hogan. Of course, my personal favorite wrestler was Sting. I'm not going to get into that, but I'm sure you can understand why my favorite was Sting. But Hulk Hogan he's still probably the most iconic wrestler of all time. Yes, you have your Randy Savages, and you have your like Andre, but Hulk Hogan was the guy. He was the all-American. He's had his controversies. I'm well aware of that. And Ozzy has too. Ozzy's farewell has been full of love, as it should be. Hulk Hogan had controversy regarding racism, and people are actually celebrating his death. That's absolutely disgusting. The things that Ozzy has done, he could have easily gotten that same treatment or worse. But, oh, hang on. So, here's the thing. And this is what I really don't like about society today. And I say society, but it's really just a small group of really loud people. And that entails that there are certain things that are considered unforgivable. And that has to do with, like, you can do like some of the worst things. Ozzy tried to kill Sharon at one time, and obviously he didn't succeed. He tried to kill Sharon at one time. Apparently he killed a bunch of dogs. He has done some terrible things in his life. And Hulk Hogan had a controversy about, a racist rant. Now, trying to kill your wife, I would say, is worse than a racist rant. But it seems that there's some sins to the woke that you can never do, that are just unforgivable. And they're so unforgivable, you're going to celebrate a man's death, a man who was a father, and I think probably even a grandfather, and somebody who seemed like he really was a legit good guy. Like, yes, he had a rant that was, it was appalling. I do not condone racism at all. And at the same time, you're going to make excuses for somebody else. Now, I'm not in any way knocking Ozzy. I adore Ozzy. Ozzy has meant a lot to me. As a music fan, as a metal fan, he has impacted music so much, and just the scene in general. Ozzy was the real Prince of Darkness, and in my eyes, and he's still immoral in some way, but he did not break a cardinal rule of racism. Now, it seems like the things you cannot do are be racist, are be homophobic. You can't be transphobic. You can't be any kind of thing where they say you're punching down. But you can try to kill your wife, and that's fine. You'll be forgiven after you say sorry. I just don't understand how anybody can celebrate anyone's death like that. Loss of life is terrible, period. I don't care who it is. Loss of life is sad, because life is something that is so full of potential for greatness. Every life has the potential for greatness. And the loss of potential, the question being left of not knowing, is like the biggest tragedy, in my opinion, of tragedies. So I'm not going to get all like poetic and deep here, but I do want to say that it's extremely hypocritical for people to be celebrating Hulk Hogan and cry over Ozzy. Now, we also lost, I believe his name is Malcolm Jamal Warner. Now, I didn't really watch The Cosby Show. Okay, y'all kind of came at me about that. I'm sorry. I didn't really watch The Cosby Show. I was more of Full House and Family Matters. Okay, I was born 87. All right, I am actually pretty old. I just did not watch it. I watched it maybe a couple times and I don't remember any of it. So, coming after me for that, like, all right, if you're my age and you watched it, cool. Good for you. I just didn't. Okay, I watched Full House, Family Matters, and Saved by the Bell. All right. So, Malcolm Jamal Warner, I believe he played Bill Cosby's oldest son in the show. I could be wrong. He passed away. His death was another sudden one. In fact, his was horrific, I believe. I think drowning is one of the worst ways to go. And he drowned, I believe, in Costa Rica in a riptide. And that's horrifying, absolutely horrifying. Um, I personally don't like the ocean. I'm scared of the ocean. Um, but that's how he left the world. And we also lost Chuck Mangione. Now, I don't really know how he passed. I didn't really get the details on that. We we also lost one of the big TV chefs. She took her own life, unfortunately. And I hate when people have to take that route where they feel like that's their only way out. Yeah, check on your friends. Just check on your friends, um, because you never know. You never know. Um, but she took her own life. There was also a musician in a band from Golden Earring that passed away as well. I don't know the band personally. Some of y'all do, but that's another celebrity that was lost. And the one of the creators, I believe, of I don't want to say Warhammer, Elder Scrolls. I'm sorry. I don't know that one particularly, but I know there's a lot of gamers that are sad about that one. One of the fathers of the game itself passed away. So it's been not a very good week to be a celebrity, to say the least. But the ones, as a millennial, the ones that, of course, upset me, and some people don't get upset at celebrity deaths. I don't, if you do, that's your thing. If you don't, that's your thing. Um, but I did grow up with Ozzy and Hulk Hogan, so their deaths did strike some sadness in me. And I do really wish the best for the families of everybody that has been lost this week. It's not been a good week at all to be really to be anybody. I didn't have the peace week either. I sprained my ankle on Monday and that was fun. Anyway, so I don't know how to approach this one. So you have conspiracy theorists, right? And I'm totally a conspiracy theorist myself. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that no, I'm always level-headed and I always think you know, their conspiracy theories are dumb. No, no, I'm like a huge conspiracy theorist. I'm libertarian. Like we're not only conspiracy theorists, but we get proven right a lot of times, especially if it's something that the government is doing or we think they're doing. They're doing it. Like USAID kind of proved a lot of libertarians right about our tax dollars and what's the government's doing with them and all the scheming and conniving things that they do with our money. But Director Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence. So I was calling her secretary on Twitter. My apologies. She's director, not secretary. Anyway, Director Gabbard, which I will give her proper title, uncovered some I'll say not really uncovered. If you say uncovered, that means unknown. Verified a lot of conspiracy theorists and their hunches about Russiagate. Now, as a libertarian, I'm on the outside looking in. All right. The whole Russiagate thing, it did not seem right. It seemed like, why would Putin want Donald Trump? You would think he'd want to work with Hillary in a way. And apparently, Director Gabbard uncovered that Putin was actually planning for a Hillary presidency, that basically Putin didn't think Trump would win. He was planning to start working with Hillary. And it was not her turn, as they were saying. And it was Obama, Barack Obama, who I'm going to say allegedly because I haven't seen I've seen some of the documents, but it has not been tried in court or anything yet. So allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly for like legal purposes, as if anyone's going to sue me for that. It was Barack Obama who allegedly set up the whole Russiagate thing. That he allegedly uh, directed people to fabricate this, even after the intelligence agencies were telling him that there was no evidence that Russia was trying to influence anything, that there was no evidence that Russia was like getting in or hacking into anything but the election. And uh and yet he's still there. Apparently there's emails and some back and forth. I don't get how if they're if you're gonna stage a coup for the next administration, why are you saving all that stuff? All the emails, all the everything. That is first off, that's the dumbest thing to do. Do you really are you that arrogant? I'm asking, but I know the answer is yes. Are you really that arrogant that you really don't think you're going to get caught? Because they did. They absolutely did. And there's people trying to they're like scrambling as if they're in such denial about it. But everybody who was not on the brainwashed left, which I would say most libertarians, and of course, obviously the conservatives, and I say most libertarians because libertarians are not a monolith. We don't always agree on everything, not even with each other. So I kind of smell something was up with the whole Russia thing. It just kind of seemed too convenient, too much. Because if there was really an issue with Russia interfering in the election, there really would have been something else done about it. It would not have been handled the way it was. It really turned into more of a witch hunt because that's what it came to be. It turned into one huge witch hunt. And it's actually pretty shameful for any kind of prior president or any kind of government to kind of go against the will of the people for the next administration. Regardless if you like Trump or follow Trump, the people elected him in 2016 and they were doing everything to subvert his election with that fabricated Russia story. Now we all knew it was fabricated. Everybody who was not brainwashed from the mainstream media knew it was fabricated because it was just it was the weirdest story, and it just seemed too convenient to make an excuse for Hillary Clinton to have lost. It's like they wanted to convince the people that no, you really did want Hillary Clinton. Clinton was the actual winner. But yet after 2020, if you question the results, you were an election denier. Despite 81 million, which is more than any other election. And it was an election where people stayed home and had mail-in ballots. And Kash Patel, I say allegedly as well, uncovered stuff about that too. And I really wish they would get into that more as well, because if you're going to election deny in 2016, but when there's actual evidence of fraud in 2020, you snub your nose and point fingers and blame and accuse people who question the 2021 where there's evidence. Okay, let's get into some comments here. I'm just getting kind of like, this is the stupidest thing. And we all knew they were doing something stupid. We all knew because, well, I don't trust the government. I know that most of my viewers here don't trust the government either. So the fact that they were doing anything, I'm actually not surprised at all. In fact, it's just vindication if anything. Okay. Now they're saying that there's no charges going to be done about it, which confuses me. Like, why tell us at all if it's just to bring awareness? I do believe it, but I feel that it's a distraction. You know, there is something about that because we want to believe we don't live in a two-tier justice system, but we do. We absolutely do. The political class does not face any kind of legal repercussions. I am shocked that, his name escapes me. My apologies. The Republican that I think he took a bribe or something. He's like off the jail or he's in jail now. And he did like some podcasts or whatever. I'm sure that he actually saw time or he is seeing time because the political class, you know, like for people in the military, like there's a term called different spanks for different ranks. And it's like that societally in this country, where the elite and the political class, and I would kind of almost lump the political class with the elite as well, they don't ever see true justice because this scandal is huge. This scandal it was a coup. It's treason, actual treason, and treason is supposed to be punishable by death. And I know no one's going to see any handcuffs. No one's going to see any time. No one is, no one's going to see anything. No time in court, even. So I can see, yes, definitely how it's just for show because nothing's going to happen. Like if something happens, like, I don't know. It will be a cold day in hell before anyone in the political class sees any kind of repercussions for their actions. It's not going to happen. Russian accent. Yes, Hillary is nice and predictable, best for the glory of Russia. Why would we enable strong American leader when a weak one serves us better? That's true. That's true. Um, as well as people just didn't have any kind of faith in Donald Trump, but he led an incredible campaign in 2016. He just flat out did. Like, not going to deny that his campaign in 2016 was great. Obviously, he won the presidency back then. You were not born in 87, 95 at the earliest. No, I was born in 87. No, I'm a lot older than I look. Oh yeah, speaking of being old, I'm wearing my Ed Hardy shirt I found. I found it in my closet when I was getting ready and I was like, that's nostalgic and we're talking about nostalgic icon figures. Let's go ahead and wear an Ed Hardy shirt. Um, so yeah, I'm wearing Ed Hardy right now. If anybody remembers the Ed Hardy craze. Um, as far as I can tell, Hulk Hogan and Ozzy both had died as Christians and were trying to live that life the best they could. As a Christian, I believe that they are in heaven. You know what? That's where the party is then. Because you got Hulkamania and Ozzy. Ozzy is able to, I'm sure, talk and move wonderfully. So that would be the best place to go. I also heard the same thing about Ozzy, that he converted to Christianity and was a Christian at the end of his life. And I really think it's odd and strange that there are Christians out there who are still slandering Ozzy, though he supposedly converted. Well, this is supposed to be a religion that believes in forgiveness and such. I'm not going to talk religion here, but yeah. Anyway, there are rumors Hulk had recently a medical procedure. I wouldn't doubt that either. Michelle Trachtenberg, who people know as like Harriet the Spy, she passed away not too long ago. She also had like a liver procedure done, and that's kind of what led to her death was, I believe, liver failure. So I would not doubt it. It seems that that's really a common thing, unfortunately, for people to have medical procedures and pass not long after. And it kind of makes you wonder, like, hey, is that procedure really going to keep me alive? Is it worth it? Yeah. If I ask someone to name one wrestler, it's either Hulk Hogan, Undertaker, my favorite, Rey Mysterio, or John Cena. Yeah, yeah, those are some of the most popular, as well as Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. He's also one that people will name as well. But my favorite was Sting, especially during the Crow days. Whenever he looked like the Crow, that was just the best. 9 out of 10 liver transplants do not work. That's terrible odds. Uh, that is depressing odds. It's like a real roll of the dice right there. Wow. It's almost like why get the procedure? It might shorten your life even more so, just for that 10% possibility. You say your age, I never believe you. Those Latina genes. Yeah, I am very, very blessed with my Latina genes uh to age as I have. So thank you. Oh, okay. So another thing I want to talk about today is everyone's in a buzz, and I don't know why they're in such a buzz. The new South Park episode. Now, South Park has been known to go after everybody. They like somebody said on Twitter earlier that they have no sacred cow. Their only sacred cow is just that anything goes. Anything. Like since the first episode, I'm not sure if it was the first. I think it might have been the first episode. The one where Cartman got abducted and got the anal probe, and he dressed up as Hitler for Halloween. And that was the first episode. The first episode. So they have been going after and just doing anything and everything since the first episode. And that very first episode was the only one as well that was actually done with actual cutout instead of computer animation. Now, what they did is and I'm not going to show it here because it's graphic. They did an AI video of Trump going through the desert. Now, what it was like they were making a satire Trump ad. Like nobody has gone this distance, you know, it sounded like it was kind of praising of Trump, but during the whole, it was made by AI, complete AI. During the whole AI uh, commercial that they made, Trump is like going through a desert, kind of crawling through it. Like first he's just kind of walking and he's sweating. Then he starts taking his clothes off until he gets to the end to where he's lying on his back, full naked on the ground in the desert, sweating. And then you see a POV as if you're looking down his belly towards his feet, and you see this little skinny penis come up, and it's like it really looks a lot like my finger. Okay, I have small hands, so this little penis comes up. They have had it everything, and then it speaks and says, "I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message." Now, I thought it was funny. Now, the thing is that there's a lot of concerns that are really up in arms about that. What happened to we can laugh at ourselves? Yes, the liberals seem to have an obsession with Trump's penis. Talking about, oh, it's so small, it's like a mushroom, this and that. Because they're obsessed with dicks anyway. That's just a liberal thing, to be obsessed with dicks. Because they are a bunch of dicks. But what's this? Why can't you laugh at yourself? I thought it was hilarious. It was gross and it was hilarious at the same time. And it's something that is very South Park, because even for South Park, it pushed an edge. But that's what South Park does. They push the edge. They push the envelope, whatever terminology you want to use. I was not at all surprised. They always go for the shock. And Matt and Trey have been open about leaning libertarian. So, of course, they're going to go after both sides. They've even said they don't like conservatives, but they really hate liberals. And it's really apparent. And the left is adamant that South Park is one of theirs. Right? And they're just in absolute denial. They make one Trump satire thing, as well as Trump apparently was in the bed with Satan. They make one thing that was making fun of Trump directly, not as Mr. Garrison being Trump, directly. And suddenly South Park is a liberal show. No, it's not. It's not a liberal show. Do you really think a liberal show would make an entire season of the whole anti-woke PC babies and PC principle and the things that made the PC babies cry? You don't know how they're able to just still gaslight themselves and everybody and still claim South Park as a liberal show. Because they went hard after the left. And they had a Randy Savage looking character that was supposedly trans that beat strong woman, vice principal strong woman, in a sport competition and won first prize. And it's a popular meme too. A lot of people use it, whenever they're discussing trans women in women's sports, they'll use that image from South Park. How is that liberal? It's not. They want to appropriate libertarian stuff just because we make fun of one side. And I say we because as libertarian sides, libertarians make fun of both sides. Libertarians don't lean conservative or liberal. Libertarian is something different. Break out of this two-party duopoly mindset and actually study political science. There are more ideologies than what the two main parties believe. And in fact, that's why Thomas Massey Sama, I'm calling him because I adore that so much. He's just absolutely amazing. That's why he clashes so bad with other Republicans. Massey is a libertarian Republican. He's not a conservative Republican. He's a libertarian Republican. Because libertarianism is not conservatism. There's some overlaps in terms of what, beliefs, there's pro-second and stuff, things, but the overlap is not enough to lump them as one and the same. Because they're not. Now, there's also things that libertarians believe that liberals might like. Libertarians, don't really care about what you do, your own personal life, what you want to do. They don't really care at all. Just don't harm anybody is basically the guideline. Don't harm anybody. And that includes taxation, which is theft. Do what you want to do, but don't harm anybody. Don't violate the NAP. And there's conservatives that are like, no, I still don't really like gay marriage. No. And there's some conservatives that flat out want the government to police morality. What in the Sharia? So, uh, yeah. So South Park is a libertarian show. It's very obviously libertarian since they do go after multiple sides. The right wing wants to forget about the entire Mr. Garrison basically being like Trump, F them all to death arc that they did. And so they want to forget that. And but yet whenever they directly make fun of Trump, now they're woke. No, no, they're not woke. They're not. They did not go woke at all. There's other people who make fun of Trump too. And honestly, Trump has more of a sense of humor. I'm not sure if like he likes the dick jokes, but you know, I'm sure he's more likely to see humor in that than a liberal is to see humor in any of like the PC babies, PC principal arc that they did, because liberals have no actual sense of humor, regardless of the fact that they try to claim all like the comedians. They can't make comedy anymore because everyone's offended by everything now. So, liberals don't have a sense of humor anymore. So the outrage over this, and I think it's because they went directly at Trump. Like they put Trump in the actual show, not symbolically Mr. Garrison modeling Trump. They actually put him in it. So I think that's probably why they're so upset about it. But satire is satire. And I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was, like I said, gross. But, it's satire. You can get upset over it, or you can laugh at yourself and laugh at just things in general. Have a sense of humor. And just remember that they're not going just after one. And people say, what about their Biden episodes or Kamala episodes? They didn't do those. First off, Biden was low-hanging fruit. The man was not cognizant. The man, it was Weekend at Bernie's his entire 4 years. I'm not going to say they don't have any morals at South Park, but that would have been really low-hanging fruit. And, they just signed like a $1.2 billion contract with Paramount to do episodes. I would not doubt that one would still be coming with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris or whatever. So whining about that, but knowing that they did all that whole anti-woke stuff, and they did episodes like I guess in a way critiquing and satiring Obama. Like I think a couple episodes or so in season 12. But dare they make fun of one guy and now they're woke? No. I'm going to defend Matt and Trey here, and regardless if I agree with them, because Trump did get my vote because Kamala was so atrocious. I wanted anything than to keep her out of the White House. I can still laugh at him, and I can still critique him when he needs to be critiqued, and I do often. I really do, and it's absolutely silly that it's Trump is the sacred cow for some people, especially if you're named after like feline feces. It's just you're probably having like a conniption fit over the episode. I bet there was a lot of stomping and just like steam coming out of his ears watching it, if he did watch it. But yeah. But speaking of things that Trump has done and things that I've critiqued him over, of course, one of them is the Epstein thing. Now let's get to that just a little bit here, because we only have about 15 minutes left. The Epstein thing. Now, I did hear that he was actually asking a judge to release, some transcripts or something, and the judge blocked it. So that's on the judge. But apparently, the DOJ went to uh, Ghislaine's Maxwell's, or visited Ghislaine Maxwell in prison or whatever, and spoke with her. Uh, Now, we don't know what they talked about. I don't know what they talked about. I don't know if it's come out. I tried to look it up on what they may have talked about, what they went over when they visited Maxwell in prison. And there's people saying that maybe she's being coached or something, given a script, because apparently she said that she's willing to give names because obviously she's in jail for trafficking to no one if there's no list and names. Um, so I'm really curious as to how that went. I wish I could be a fly on the wall to know what they discussed with her because she knows, I'm sure she knows, of course she knows, that what Bondi was saying wasn't true. There are names in Maxwell's trial that victims have come out and said. So it's not just that she was trafficking girls to Epstein. Yeah, she was. But there were others too. We know there were. There have been testimonies. There have been, victims coming out and telling. Even Kevin Spacey said on Piers Morgan that, yes, he was on a plane. Yes, there was young girls. And Bill Clinton was there. So we know it. And they try to gaslight us insultingly. So I wonder what they talked about, if they cut a deal with her or if they coached her, threatened her, maybe. I don't know. Okay. Let's see here. About South Park, the way they targeted conservatives and liberals differently, but still treated them the same. Yeah. Yeah. No one is off limits. And that's what we should be able to aspire to have in comedy. No one be safe. Because once something is safe, then you don't really have much of a comedy anymore because you're having to hold back and dance around. Comedy should be brash and in your face because it's comedy. It's satire. With conservatives, they went after the president. Next one, with liberals, they targeted the culture. And they targeted Obama too. They did go after Obama. They, as I believe, yeah, season 12. I know episode 12. I don't know the other episode, but they did go after Obama. They did mention that, or mention like something with Obama, some jewelry thief thing, as well as, talking about like still in the election or something. So they've gone after Democrat presidents too. They're not just going after one side. They are an equal opportunity satire, which is great. That's why it's really stood the test of time. Now, Family Guy does flat out lean left, and they've stood around for quite some time. They have lasted many years. They got canceled once and came back. But generally, by and large, Family Guy, they do explicitly lean left. Now, they do have some arcs, some episodes where you may kind of question it, that are kind of middle ground, but all in all, no, Family Guy does lean left. All right, I should have had the energy drink. Anyway, yeah, this is my Hogwarts Legacy time. So let's see. I'm in Canada, but I just like hearing about the absurdity. It is absolutely absurd. It's a real party down here. It's an absolute party. But thank you for watching from Canada. They also made Hillary look like an incompetent puppet during season 20. They just made her look like what she is. Actually, Kamala was the incompetent puppet. I think that Hillary is actually dangerous. Hillary was the last candidate the Democrats ever ran that uh, how do I say this? Because Biden was not cognizant and he was a puppet. Kamala can't rub two brain cells together. Hillary was the only one that was, and when I say good candidate, I don't mean that there's ideas and ideals and policies that are good. I mean, as in like an actual strong candidate. Hillary was the last strong candidate the Democrats ran. Because now, so far, the last two have been garbage. Absolute garbage. After 2012, Family Guy sucks. Yeah, there have been some episodes that have been all right. It just kind of got a bit more serious with Stewie being I don't know, just like super just like leading the show, going on these like things with Brian, and it's been all right, but it hasn't. I don't know. I really feel like they've kind of lost the comedy arc, and they've really kind of gone almost a bit more serious, like trying to make a statement. They could have had Mama Tulsi, but no, I know, right? And she left the party. So Mama Tulsi is no longer a part of them. I think they went too far left for Mama Tulsi because she flat out left the party. Like she was just like sick of them, and I don't blame her. And like the Democrats have gone so far left, they have alienated longtime liberals who are now considered moderate liberals to centrists now because they continue to move left. All right. So if you haven't already, like the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And apparently there's like a notification bell you can always hit to get notifications for anytime I'm live. And usually what I do is live streams, discuss the topics and news, I guess, of the week, because it's on every Friday, 10:30 Central Time, as I'm in Central Time. So 10:30 p.m. Central Time every Friday for 1 hour. I do want to start making more of actual videos, edited, pre-recorded videos, but getting the topics to do and the time to do it is my issue. But I only have one up on YouTube. You can check it out. It's kind of old now, somewhat old. But I do want to take a moment and recognize our sponsor for today's stream. Our sponsor is, I gotta pull that up. Here we go. All right. Today's sponsor is libertariangoth.com, the largest online alt culture geared themed liberty apparel store. It is specific to alt culture styles with liberty messages, such as my current favorite, cyberbully the government. This is my new favorite shirt. I got this in not too long ago. Don't forget to cyberbully your government daily. They deserve it. What are they going to do about it? Cry, lol. Have that in a hoodie as well. And we have lots of other things. I do pinup modeling, amateurly. And I have some canvases with quotes from people like Frederick Bastiat and the great Ron Paul. There's mugs, shirts, hats, stickers. You think of it, I got it. I even have leggings and sandals, and they look like Chucks, or like the All-Star Chucks. But the bestseller right now are these MAGA hats. Make America Goth Again. That's what I'm wearing right now. I am wearing this middle one right here, the Make America Goth Again trucker hat. I have them in snapbacks and dad hats and beanie style. Check those out. If goth is not your thing, you're more of a metalhead, I also do have Make America Metal Again, which I like metal. I'm a metalhead as well. And then there's also Make America Punk Again. Beanies, hats on that as well. And then for the sad boys and girls, I got Make America Emo Again. So I tried to include the largest alternative subcultures. Of course, lots of beanies for the emos. I hear emos like beanies. But we also have, let's see, they're not really a sponsor. Aside from libertariangoth.com, we also want to bring up here the alternativesovereign.com, which is it's an offshoot of this. What it is it's a liberty. Let's refresh this. I think we have some. It is a music news site, kind of almost like a blog, more or less, the way it's set up right now. But it is a music news site that has a liberty lean to it. You don't have any of that Metal Hammer, Rolling Stone, leftist BS lecturing you about the music. This is an approach from liberty leaning writers. Lots of album reviews on here already. So check them out. There's some opinion pieces. This is my personal opinion piece right here, but the political pendulum of metal. We have an album review from Impure Hunter on Cryptopsy, the Insatiable Violence 2025 album review. We got a great expose on Amira Elfeki, Goth and Roses, All Rise for the New Princess of New Metal by Spanish Jesus. Got a good little team here on alternativesovereign.com. So check it out if you like music, you hate being lectured by insufferable leftists when you're just wanting to read a damn album review or concert review or just an expose on an artist. We don't lecture like the left. So your music, your news without the boot. Because we all know the left is a bunch of bootlickers, since they want more government, regardless if they're trying to deny that or not. You want more government? That's a bootlicker stance. All right. We got Spanish Jesus here. The Alternative Sovereign is the best damn music site ever. I agree. I've got some work to do on the design, but I agree because we don't have any of that preachy, lectury sort of vibe in any of our articles. We don't. That's not our forte. Like things like Metal Hammer and Rolling Stone, especially Rolling Stone. They're the worst. Punk also like beanies. Yeah, I know. I believe I do have beanies in the punk. I do. Yes, I do have Make America Punk Again beanies. I don't have lots of color with the punk. Punk doesn't seem like it's very colorful. So the beanies are in white and gray lettering. Everything's black though. All the hats, all the beanies, they're all black. That way it'll go with any outfit. But, alternative culture, people usually wear mostly black anyway. As it goes with everything too. All right, so I do want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. Going over some sad news with the loss of our icons and celebrities that we grew up with, held dear and cherished, and going over some findings. We didn't touch on the aliens, which people think might be a distraction, which they always kind of bring out the aliens like conveniently. But supposedly there's some aliens on the way here. I don't know. But Yeah, discussing aliens, discussing a little bit of Epstein here and there, which we still don't have a list. I know there has to be a list, or they can compile a list from all the stuff that they got. But don't ever drop the Epstein thing. You can still be mad about Epstein, not drop Epstein, and still be mad about all the corruption that Director Gabbard found. So don't think that you can only be mad at one at the same time. Okay? You could be mad at the government for many things at the same time. And I encourage you to take every issue you have with the government all at once. Okay? All right? Don't get tunnel vision on just one thing. Get like a multiple tunnel vision, for multiple things, because it's all one gross, corrupt monster. So never let up. All right. Keep them accountable always. But yeah, once again, I want to thank you for coming tonight. I enjoyed discussing all of this with you all. And I do want to always remind you to lead with kindness unless they don't deserve it. And join me next Friday where we'll discuss whatever happens next in this crazy week. Bye.